Fulton. Quinn, it's in!
The thing was that we would put first down there.
And Sonia O'Sullivan strikes for home around the long way round. Sonia O'Sullivan against Yvonne Murray, and she's putting down her marker, Sonia, now. She's going to qualify in style, and Sonia O'Sullivan writes herself into the history books as just the second Irish woman ever to qualify for an Olympic final.
Davis showing his strength. Bowen's kick is blocked and taken by Noel Mannion. Up to halfway. Noel Mannion chasing Bryant. Bryant is catching him. Noel Mannion into the 22. Will he make it? Noel Mannion scores! What a brilliant try from Noel Mannion.
And that was certainly behind the board.
Leave the door.
The The under-15 team has been giving us a bit of trouble because so many of the boys were disappearing to the long putt finals in County Galway, near Gort somewhere, and then also the soccer league in Galway. But we've coped with that. They're coming back by train, so they will. The under-15 boys relay team will appear on the day. Thank goodness. Any more about that one, or shall Martina tell us about the modelling competition?
Modelling competition. Just
I was very much involved in the Walkinstown area, and I went up there to live with my wife in 1956, and they asked me to become secretary of an organisation that would help the young people in the Walkinstown area. And I jumped into that with enthusiasm, and we organised the young people up there and got themselves involved in a number of activities. But then I was looking forward to, there must be some outside interest too. And people were getting to know of Walkinstown, they were getting to know what was being done in Walkinstown, so they were building up another interest in other areas. So I said, wouldn't it be nice to have inter-area competition? And going home one night, the idea came to me that this is what I should follow up. So I did a bit of research work on that. And I found that there was an organisation called NATO, that's the National Association of Tenant Organisation, and also ACRA, the Association of Convoy and Residence Association. And knowing that they had community areas and structures already set up, I said to myself, I'll go and talk to them.
I remember the first night he came over to the reporter's desk where I was and suggested that I come to a meeting, as far as I remember, it was somewhere in Finglas, and he was going to put forward this idea of a mini Olympics. And it took some time for that to penetrate to me. I wasn't quite sure what he was talking about in the mini Olympics. That was in the early 1960s. And you must remember at that time the facilities available in Dublin were very lean, to say the least. And his concept was to have local competitions in all the various areas of Dublin, and then coming to a grand finale, probably in the Billy Stadium in Santry. And this seemed a great idea to me, though I didn't know how he was going to do it.
I met NATO and I met ACRA people, spoke to them about the idea I have about inter-area competition, something on a kind of a mini Olympics, and they were very keen because whilst they were politically involved in getting healing problems in their areas, they were overlooking the fact that young people were living there also and needed attention. And after that meeting there, we went then to, we had our various other meetings in Moran's Hotel, and it eventually developed from that. The first national finals were in Santry was the athletics, and it was tremendous because we had young people from all over the country, 32 counties, and there was a tremendous atmosphere, all very keen, you know, to be actually involved.
I remember it was great excitement going out to Santry because that was a real track. It wasn't just drawn on the grass. We used to run on our bare feet. So I remember going in to town with Mum and we bought these big red runners, Adidas, I think they were, with white stripes on them, and they were really heavy, big, like football boots. And having these, it was great. I felt like the bee's knees going out to Santry to run. And the atmosphere out there was unbelievable. There were so many kids and everybody had banners. They were waving them all, or each of it had their own locality on their banner.
It was just unbelievable, the enthusiasm and the cooperation and how smoothly everything went. It just went like clockwork. It sounds very easy now, looking at it as it is at the moment. But it was very difficult to envisage what it was going to be like in the early days. Very difficult. However, Joe was always an optimist. Put it through, never looked back.
We had this wonderful film that was taken in Santry, which we brought around with us, and got tremendous help from people to bring around a video, or to bring around a projector and that. So that in a couple of years, we had 56 areas, including the Aran Islands. We got a free flight out of from Iran to bring the film out to the Aran Islands, and the hall was packed. And they came in for it. The first time they came in for swimming was the first time they'd ever been in a swimming pool.
90 years ago, the GAA was established and took root in virtually every parish in Ireland. Community Games has done the same. Very few organisations do that, but Community Games answered a need to provide something in communities that wasn't there. The opportunity for children to develop and to get involved in a wide range of activities that the opportunities just weren't there for before.
When it was founded 25 years ago, there was very little for girls to do. There was plenty for boys to do. There was the GAA, and there was hurling, football, that type of thing. And girls, there was very, very little for girls to do. So I think Community Games actually started involvement for girls from under 8 up to under 17.
This is the lineup for the girls' 1500 metres race, and they have the honour of having their race started by President Childers.
Come on, you Billy, come on.
These Community Games bring 2,400 children from the 32 counties of Ireland, representing all denominations, and the games bring them together in healthy athletic contest. And this sets a wonderful example to the people of the country as to what can be done to provide recreation for young people.
We often get the phrase taking kids off the streets. Well, you know, it has to be said that the Community Games has succeeded in doing this. They've opened up, you know, whole avenues of interest for young people who otherwise would have been, you know, left to their own devices.
I've had cases in Galway where some young lads were intending to stray, and if you went up to the Garda barracks, and indeed they had presented a beautiful trophy for Gaelic football. As a matter of fact, they, out of their own pockets, and I thought it was a lovely slogan they had up in the barracks: failure to contribute is condoning vandalism.
We had a special activities weekend. We had a crowd down from Belfast. And it was a cross-community crowd. We had kids from Lannadoon area, Lower Falls. We had kids from Seymour Hill, Tugmona, which are Catholic and Protestant. And when the kids were carrying on, within Belfast, they don't see each other and don't get about together with each other much. But down here, one of the things that actually happened was managers were sitting talking to some of the children, and other ones came running in and says, God, says, these wee oranges down here, they're great crack. And to me, that made the whole thing, because it showed that Catholic and Protestant can get together.
I became involved in 1973. I was handed a panel of young rugby players, and among whom was Noel Mannion, who was afterwards to star for Ireland. And that was my first involvement. I took a team through in the rugby, and they were quite successful. We got to the first All-Ireland finals here in Mosney. And
we started off playing local competitions first of all, and gradually went through our county to the county final, which was in Galway, obviously. And we won that. And we went on then to play in the Connacht Championship, and we defeated Sligo, if I remember correctly, in the final. The prize for that was a trip to Butlins. We got to the semi-final. We beat Churchtown from Dublin in that. And then we got to the final, which at the time was big news in Ballinasloe, because Community Games was only a new venture at the time. Unfortunately, we didn't win that particular game. We were beaten by a team from Limerick, 4 points to 0. And we were disappointed we didn't win. We got our silver medals, and we were happy with that, I suppose. But it would have been nice to have gone the whole way at that stage.
My mother and father couldn't come up to Mosney. So again, being only 9 years of age and sort of in an under-12 competition with the rest, the best of Ireland, if you like, with all the hurling counties involved as well. I mean, they were just hoping that I wouldn't go up and make a fool of myself. But again, it was another phone call to tell them that I'd won it. I'd won the under-12 All-Ireland at 9 years of age. And a good friend of mine, I think he lives in America now, Stephen Donnelly, managed to win the under-12 sprint, the 100 metres, and it was great memories.
This is the winner. This is a brand new winner, just over the line. What's your name again?
Stephen Donnelly.
From?
Dublin.
Dublin. Good man yourself. Are you excited now?
Yeah.
Are you glad you won? What are you going to do now for the rest of the evening?
I suppose eat.
Eat?
Mosney was great in as much as that we felt probably as best as we felt as if we're representing somebody, and we were up here and there was like tracksuits from Kerry, fellas going around and girls going around in tracksuits from Donegal and Mayo, and we kind of probably felt something, you know, we're from Dublin.
I remember going to Butlins and the sun was blazing. It always was sunny at community games. Oh, I tell you, it was just, sunshine everywhere, even on the kids' faces. It was magic. I remember going to Butlins and selecting your person you're going to sleep with in the chalet, and you'd be in a chalet and you'd buy buckets of sweets and you'd sit down at night and you'd be eating them all, you know. We had a great time.
Well, I was up there for a couple of years, actually. I was in a relay for 1 year, and I think I went up there for chess either once or twice, I can't remember, but I was lucky to win a bronze there, so I wasn't bad.
There was always a great atmosphere up in Mosney, and I always remember, like, a friend of mine now, Marcus O'Sullivan, I remember when I was under 14 up there, he came in for the day and visited, and I don't know, it's just, you know, the inspiration of someone like Marcus coming back, and, you know, he had done so well already on the international scene. You know, it makes me think, you know, well, everything starts at the community games, and it's great to just come back and, you know, see the young kids, you know, run well, and, you know, they're going to be the future of Ireland's athletics and, you know, all sports and games.
Well, Butlins for me at the time was, I'd heard about it obviously, and we'd seen photographs of it and that, but it was a tremendous place. It was just full of life and activity, and I'd seen the sports that I'd only, you know, watched on TV, or, you know, the swimming pool, the swimming and the judo, etc. And it was funny, there was 11 of us on the team, which meant that that there was, we were paired off in rooms, which meant that there was one odd, and of course who was left odd was me. And I remember I was put into a room with a guy called Pendergast, I'll never forget his name, from Renmore in Galway, and he was into judo. And I've never met him since, and we had a good time for the weekend that we were there. But I've never actually met the guy since, but if he's watching this program or whatever, he might get in touch at some stage and we can have a chat about it.
A train to Mosney every year was something you always look forward to, because you get on the train and you have Roscommon carriage, and beside you would be Mayo probably, and behind that again then would be Sligo. So you'd meet all the people, and you'd see the whole, it was strange to see the train because it was just full of colours. Everyone was in their tracksuits, you know, and you'd be walking on the train wondering, have you any bloke doing under 16 gymnastics, have you? And they'd be going, yeah, it's Tommy, he's down the back there. So you go down the back to suss out what Tommy was like, to see how good he was, you know.
You are visiting public, and most important of all, to our competitors. Another year gone, and for these youngsters, a year about to begin, that will last for 3 days this weekend. For a next group of competitors coming in for the second weekend, the culmination of all of their hopes and aspirations. This year. Preceded by the carnival. The colour party. The band of the colour party carrying the flag.
This year we have obtained, I would say, major sponsorship from the Irish League of Credit Unions, and I must say we're delighted with this, because credit unions is another community-based voluntary organisation which is so similar in so many ways to our own.
When we looked at it, we found that we had lots of things in common with the organisers of the community games, because we're both community-based organisations where we had many people giving up their time to their local communities. And we felt that this was something that we would like to get involved in. And I must say, since we did get involved with them, that we have been very, very happy.
Dips it down, and away she goes.
It was a huge thing to organise, and still is, I believe. But you know, to get so many kids into one area, get them all on pitches on time, get them dressed, get the matches refereed, and get the scores back and get them all counted up. It was a tremendous effort on the organisation part, and I think you know, and I would be to blame for this. I think as competitors we didn't actually thank the people at the time enough.
Come on, lads.
Okay, lads. Let's go.
There's a great well of support for the community games. In every locality there's volunteers just give their time and their energy painstakingly to help the games, and they're there at all weathers, and they're bringing out the kids, and even during the winter helping them out with technical events like the discus and javelin. And I know people in my neighbourhood are close to it are really very, very good about giving their time to help the kids all year round, not only just on that one day where they have their community run-offs, but all the time.
I mean, one thing I will always be grateful for in my football career was the people who took time out to help me when I'm sure they could have been doing an awful lot more with their Sunday afternoons or their Tuesday evenings, wet Tuesday evenings in Dublin. And, you know, when I look back, I mean, it's hard for me to thank them personally, but I've not forgotten the sort of the great help they gave me.
The nation owes them a debt of gratitude for all the unsung heroes that's behind the community games from the very start. They have been there, nobody knows who they are. There are hundreds of them working all over the country, in every parish, in every village, in every town in Ireland.
Relay.
Lovely. Wow. Lovely. Great.
We have 32 counties now going, and all of those people work hard and work together. And I think that is something that the government should take special interest in. And I feel that with us being able to harness them there, they should give us a special role and identify us as an organisation that can arrange such a cooperative organisation to work for young people.
They've always recognised it as being a marvellous movement, a movement indeed that everybody in sport should look to, because it's the community games that introduce children at a very early age to sport, and of course it has produced its many champions in Sonia O'Sullivan in recent times, and indeed Stephen Roach and many others throughout the life of the community games. 25 years of celebration, I think they have something to celebrate.
Well, for people like myself, Marcus O'Sullivan, Eamon Coughlin, the community games was a great starting block.
It has to have a benefit for the kids on the street, certainly, and it's gone. I think it's gone beyond the sporting situation as well now, because they have chess and they have arts and they've debating and they've all these other areas in which they're introducing competition. And it's nice to have, and I think the competition itself, it's done in a nice type of way. It's all about participating, and it's all about getting involved. It's all about learning the principles of whatever discipline you're doing.
Kids are naturally competitive, and I think it's a great outlet for them. And not only in the sprints, but all through, where you can do arts and crafts, you can do chess. It's so much team sports. Like, there's something for everybody in the community games, and I'd always encourage any kids to get involved in it.
They cater for everything, you know, it's not just sport or draughts, but there's art and swimming and, you know, whatever you're interested in. There's a section there in the community games that'll encourage you and, you know, have a competition open for you.
With the community games on an international stage is probably the best foundation for youngsters to get involved in sport that I've ever come across. And anybody who didn't avail of the chance to take part in that, I think they're missing out.
I would still see the future of community games as being very much in concentrating on the concept of the community, and perhaps widening out into even more activities than it's involved in at the moment. The National Development Committee have plans for new directions, new developments, in line with sort of what's needed in modern society, and the needs of society keep changing. And I think that we have to keep changing with the times.
I see community games doing a bigger role than what they have been doing over the past 25 years. We're now known for what we're doing. We built up the national interest to such an extent that clubs have been formed in every community area throughout the whole of Ireland. And that way we've built up the national sporting organisations.
Without the community games, it's hard to say where I'd be, but I certainly know where I am because of them.